the cosmic ballet of realities unfurling. Each portal represents a doorway to a universe with its own history, its own unique version of events. As the walls of the multiverse crack open, we're witnessing more than just a spectacle. We're seeing a convergence of possibilities. The energy crackling through those portals is the culmination of years of comic book lore finally brought to life on screen. This moment is a visual manifestation of the multiverse theory, a concept first hinted at with small nods in previous MCU films, but now fully realized. Each Spider-Man swings into view with the weight of his own past adventures, triumphs, and failures. The scene is not just chaotic. It's a grand assembly of destiny, where the future of every universe balances on the edge of a web. Before Peter Parker's fateful involvement in Civil War, Spider-Man had been a myth in the MCU, a whispered legend finally unveiled as Tony Stark recruited the teenage hero. His introduction was both a breath of fresh air and a critical turning point in MCU history. While Peter was adjusting to his new role alongside Earth's mightiest heroes, his journey was just beginning. Civil War was more than just a battlefield. It was a classroom where Peter learned the harsh realities of superhero life. These early moments of mentorship with Stark planted the seeds of the responsibilities Peter would later face on a multiversal scale. His naivety, juxtaposed against his growing sense of duty, made him the perfect candidate for what was to come. In this chapter of his life, Peter was learning about the delicate balance between power and consequence. Lessons that would ripple across dimensions when he attempted to erase his identity. Peter's plea to Doctor Strange wasn't just the result of desperation. It was a decision born from the immense pressure of fame and danger converging on his life. In the aftermath of Far From Home, where his identity was revealed by Mysterio, Peter had been thrust into the glaring spotlight, a position that had not only jeopardized his loved ones, but had also fundamentally shattered the anonymity that had protected them. The spell he requested was more than just a quick fix. It was symbolic of his wish to return to normalcy, to undo the burden of his identity being public knowledge. But Peter's inexperience in handling the delicate fabrics of reality led to the spell spiraling out of control. This wasn't just a failed incantation. It was the metaphorical shattering of the mirror that reflected infinite realities. All because a teenage boy wanted to undo a grave mistake. Each crack in that spell echoed across dimensions, revealing that the multiverse is as fragile as Peter's personal life. The arrival of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was not just a nostalgic nod. It marked the first true recognition that all the different Spider-Man films across decades are threads in the larger tapestry of Marvel's multiverse. These alternate Spider-Men carried their own stories of pain, love, and loss into the MCU. Tobey, once the bright-eyed hero of the early 2000s, now appeared more worn, wiser, and battle-hardened. Andrew's Spider-Man, still dealing with the unresolved trauma of losing Gwen Stacy, brought a more emotionally complex version of the character. Together, they weren't just alternate realities. They were echoes of Peter's possible futures. By pulling these versions into the MCU, Marvel essentially cemented the idea that every superhero narrative, no matter how long ago it was told, still has value and weight in the multiverse. The multiverse collapsing was more than just a spectacle. It was a reckoning with every Spider-Man's legacy. As the three Spider-Men united against their respective villains, we saw the true depth of their experience. Tobey's wisdom, Andrew's emotional resilience, and Tom Holland's courage combined to form a force greater than the sum of its parts. Doc Ock's confused return, Green Goblin's descent into pure chaos, and Electro's hunger for power represented more than just physical threats. They were symbolic of the very dangers lurking in every reality: human frailty, ambition, and madness. Spider-Man was no longer just a boy trying to save his city. He became a linchpin holding together a chaotic storm of universes. Each strike, each web shot wasn't just an act of heroism. It was a battle to preserve every possible future. Together, these versions of Spider-Man exemplified what Peter Parker always stood for. That no matter the version or the universe, Spider-Man always rises no matter the odds. When Peter made the decision to erase himself from the collective memory of his loved ones, it was more than a tragic personal loss. It was the culmination of his growth as a character. This decision mirrored the journey of many heroes before him. But for Peter, the stakes were even more personal. He wasn't just losing the love of his life or his aunt. He was erasing the core of his own identity. He chose to become a ghost, a forgotten figure in the shadows, so that others might live in peace. It was the ultimate act of selflessness, mirroring the theme that with great power comes great responsibility, but taken to a cosmic level. In making this sacrifice, Peter became a symbol, a hero who no longer fought for recognition or personal relationships, but for the survival of all realities. The ripple effects of his erasure would be felt not only in his own universe, but across all dimensions, altering the very fabric of existence. The consequences of Peter's decision were vast, affecting not just his world, but the balance of the multiverse itself. By removing his existence from everyone's memories, Peter inadvertently stabilized the multiversal rift. He became the unspoken protector, holding the threads of reality together by relinquishing his personal connections. This sacrifice also signified a deeper philosophical truth. Sometimes the greatest heroism comes in the form of unseen, unremembered actions. While the multiverse had been saved, Peter now stood on the fringes, forgotten but ever vigilant. He became a silent guardian, embodying the idea that true heroes don't need recognition to make a difference. His actions were a reminder that the balance of power and responsibility extends far beyond any one person's world. Sometimes, it spans across all of existence. With the multiverse now an open field of possibilities, Peter's future is both uncertain and filled with potential. Kang the Conqueror, whose mastery over time and dimensions makes him an inevitable foe, looms on the horizon. Spider-Man's role in the larger battle against multiversal chaos has only begun. As a central figure who understands the fragility of reality better than almost anyone, Peter may hold the key to preventing further collapses or even stopping Kang's rise. But this time, Peter is without his usual support system. With no one remembering him, he must navigate his next steps alone, facing a universe where the rules of existence have been rewritten. Yet his journey is far from over. Because if there's one thing we've learned from Peter Parker, it's that even when the world forgets, Spider-Man never stops fighting.